of the second international break of the season, so a different sort of programme today for our Monday regulars of Dion Dublin and Don Hutchison. They're each going to choose their player of the season, an obvious candidate, if you like, and an outsider, somebody you wouldn't have thought of at the start of the season. Then in part three, the chaps will pick an amalgamation from the top three teams in the league. And talking at the top of the league, we have a title race on our hands. So looking at the table, Chelsea and Liverpool this time last year were 9 points off Man City.
That's incredible, that.
It is amazing, that is this time last year. Do you go as far as Tottenham for your title race, or do you stop at Liverpool? Or do you go Liverpool and Arsenal, not Tottenham?
I go as far as Spurs at the moment. Yeah. It's hard to look past them, really. 2 points away from, you know, third.
Yeah.
You've got to include them. It's only 2 points.
Yeah, 8 games in, only 2 points of difference. You have to say now.
Yeah, you do.
You're in contention. Even though in my heart of hearts, I think those two especially will fall away.
And they'll fall away.
You think the two North London teams will fall away?
I think so.
Yes.
I don't think they're ready just yet.
No. So you'd be extremely surprised if it came from outside the top three?
Yes, definitely.
Would you be very surprised if it came from outside Liverpool and Man City?
Incredibly
Would you?
surprised.
Would you?
Yeah.
Well, you'd be so surprised if Chelsea won it.
I would, yeah, because I think they're too good.
Swiped away the whole of London.
Wow.
Yes, I would be very surprised if
I'm not going out with you this afternoon.
No,
I'm not going out with you in London this afternoon.
I've got the train straight up north, out of the way.
Chelsea have got as much a chance as Liverpool and City?
I think they have. I didn't at the start of the season because I thought there was problems. Now, we've touched on N'Golo Kante, his best position, and he's playing out of that best position. We've touched on Marcus Alonso playing as an orthodox left-back. It's not his strongest position. He plays higher up on the left-hand side as a wing-back. But the way Sarri's got them playing and the smile that the players are playing with and the freedom that he's got them playing with and their goals and their performances, they've been brilliant so far.
Yeah. It's going to be a great season. Right, let's start with you in this first part, your player. We're starting with your outsider, as it were. Your hometown gets a mention, doesn't
it? Leicester City's new boy, James Maddison.
Yep.
I think he's been outstanding so far. I could see there was something there when he was at Norwich. You know, I spend a lot of time with Darren Huckabee over at Norwich. I go and see him quite a lot. He's taken me to a couple of his games in the Huckabee suite.
Oh, right.
So I've watched him play.
So no bias whatsoever?
No, none at all. And I've seen him play. He's got a very good footballing brain. Doesn't panic under pressure, receives the ball under pressure, makes things happen, tries passes. I just like that he's coming to the Premier League and he hasn't looked out of place.
Yeah. What you often say he occupies that space between the lines. You just want to expand on what that means.
Well, people think that's an easy role to play. If you imagine a number 10 on your back and you've got a free role. So basically, a manager will say to you, right, you can go and drift in any of the areas, get yourself in between the opposition's midfield and the back four. So you're getting that loads of space. You can roam anywhere you want. I've played that position before, and believe you me, it's not as easy as people make out that it is. People think you can do what you want. I've played that role where you have a mare, and every time you go to one side, the ball gets switched to the other, and you're not in the right position. You quickly sprint over there, and it gets transferred, and you're just thinking, I'm doing all the wrong things. He's got a great knack of sometimes standing still on the football pitch and letting the game come to him. He receives it on his back foot. As Dion said, he's got a great brain. Now he's taking free kicks and scoring. You're thinking, at this moment in time, the kid's absolutely on fire.
To go into a team that only, or a club that only won the league 3 years ago, and go in and take the ball off the regulars. You know,
like
taking the ball off people and say, I'll take that corner, I'll take that free kick, I'll be in charge of that, leave that to me. That's very brave.
Yeah.
Going into a new club, as you know, we can tell you, you sort of tread carefully and you sort of find your feet, not him.
He's actually as equally important as Jamie Vardy now, isn't he? Now, there's another link with the pair of you as well. Let's have a look at what he's done in terms of his career. It's very interesting, and I was reading a really fascinating interview with him over the weekend with his father saying, he didn't want to necessarily go to a big club straight away. We talk about this a lot, the Chelsea Academy, how much are they going to play? So the link with you two, obviously, is Coventry there, and that's where he comes from. And interesting, Norwich, Aberdeen on loan, even that would have had to have man up there.
That would have hardened him up there. Going to play, you know, north of the ball, that's very difficult.
The point is, age 21, already over 100 games, so just exposure to top-level football.
Do you know if I could have one...
Sorry, first team football.
Exactly.
Do you know if I could change the path of my career on one small thing, and I could never change it because it was life-changing, going from Hartlepool United to Liverpool, bottom of the 4th division, straight to in the top 3 of the Premier League. I didn't play too much because the philosophy under Kenny at the time was buy loads of young players and you do your apprenticeship while playing reserve games.
That's right.
And then when you're good enough, i.e. 2 or 3 years later, you are ready for first-team action. When people like Steve McMahon and Ronnie Whelan and all them guys leave, you are then ready. But you miss out on 3 years.
You think you might have been better, some sort of incremental building up?
Well, I think the most important thing, and I've got a 17-year-old boy at the minute, and he's playing men's football. I think it's so important that if you're James Maddison at 21, you are playing men's competitive Premier League football.
And
that
you know, the example we always use is Dele Alli. He played a lot of men's football at MK Dons in League One, so that when he went to Tottenham, he's battle-hardened, isn't he? And this is the Maddison
and
example.
what James, playing for Coventry and Norwich are not Premier League clubs, but they're big football clubs with big followings, pressure on them to do well, good stadiums, good teams, good managers. So the pressure's been on him for a long time, and he's had to play in the first team, and he's had to play well. And that's what Don's saying. He's had his 3 years finding his feet and being ready and getting ready for the Premier League. Now he's stepped into it, and it's down. It's because of that nurturing.
My numbers, I would imagine, I don't know them, my numbers when I signed for Liverpool, I would imagine, would be 3 years or 2.5 years of not one single first-team game. All about learning, all about being in the dressing room, being around the star players, playing reserve team football, getting hardened that way, doing an apprenticeship. Can't think of anything better for a 21-year-old to be performing in the Premier League.
We speak about our time. Our time when you're not in the first team, you're very privileged to even talk to a first teamer. When you're not in the first team and you're playing for the reserves, i.e. first teamer here, Premier League, you're here trying to get to there, you have to knock on the first team door, you have to pick up all the kit, you have to clean the dressing room, you have to clean all the boots.
And by the way, the first teamers knew you were a threat coming through.
Yeah.
So you didn't get treated very nicely off the first
team.
team.
Not quite the opposite.
Absolutely.
Their livelihood.
And that's what we're saying. All those jobs that you have to do make you think to yourself, right, if I can keep doing these, playing well in the reserves, as we called it, and you get your chance, you've earned it.
So do you look at Maddison and think, I don't want to get him sold by Leicester already, because their fans won't thank us, but do you look at him, we've just talked about a title race, top 5, top 6, is he good enough, maybe, potentially, to play at that level, top 16?
With the potential talent that he has, which can get better, yes, he can. It might be 3, 4, 5 years, I don't know, but what I'm seeing so far, he shows no fear of the Premier League. He shows no fear of the quality of player that he's playing against. And he's standing toe-to-toe with them.
Because what he likes to do, and we often read this, Spain are playing England tonight, the Spanish players, he doesn't mind receiving the ball when he's marked, when he's got somebody on him. Because a lot of players do, they go, don't give it to me, I'm marked, as if that somehow that excludes me from the game. Go, that's fine, give it to me, because I believe in my technique, I believe in my touch, and by definition, somebody probably is unmarked, and I'll be able to find them.
Well, we call that in the game a wall pass. So what you don't mind is, even though if I'm facing this way and Dion's beside me, as long as the ball's played on my safe side, you could bounce a little ball into me, even though I'm marked, I'll bounce it back into you, you see the next one. So you've got to be in that position of your James Maddison to be brave enough to go, well, I'll take the ball. Once I lay it off, I'll spin and I'll go to do something different. If I've got a trick in my locker to get away from my opponent, he's got all of that. And the one bit of advice I would give him now, with the games that he's got under his belt and the way he's performing, don't be in a rush to move.
No, that exactly.
Do not be in a rush to get that big move and earn that lucrative contract where your life will change, but then your performances and your numbers in games will diminish. Stay where you are at the moment.
And you might not play regularly, of course.
Absolutely, and you're at a great club.
When we look at his numbers, I just said he's as important as Vardy, is it? These numbers for somebody who's just started playing in the Premier League. Remember, this is his first season in the Premier League. Well, that says it all, doesn't it?
It's incredible.
You look at that and you go, everything is going through him.
It's actually difficult to try and pick which one you like the best. I like minutes played at the bottom.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of games. 5th. You know, that's a lot of games. I mean, we talk about, look, first at goals, assists, second, you know, chances created. So we know technically he's very good. We know from set plays as well. He's got all the tools in his locker. And you look at them numbers there, Dion, and you just think...
Goals is the one for me.
Is it goals? Yeah,
goals is for me. I mean, playing in Don's position, Maddison, is... I think he's joint top with Vardy.
Vardy, there, he is.
So to you know, and he's a top man as well. So to go there, be the top man with the goals, create chances for other people, the attempts on goal as well. So you know,
what that shows me more than anything is he's willing to get on the ball and he's brave.
Yes.
You know, dribbling with the ball, creating chances. being brave, getting your goals, taking corners, taking free kicks, taking penalties. I mean, it's like watching a kid when you're at school and someone just says, "I'll do everything. I'll take the corners, I'll take the free kicks."
There's that little bit between the lines, that goal we just saw there.
Absolutely. There's the free kick. So you know the technique's there. You wouldn't build a player solely just on what he can do set plays.
Exactly.
It's important that you've got them.
And it doesn't complicate his game, which I think Don says about don't be in a rush to leave too quickly. I would say don't complicate your game. Keep your game simple. Get it, pass it to somebody else, get your shot off, create chances. That's your job. Yeah. And what he does do as well, which Don used to do as well as a player, because I remember Don doing it, just that little look over your shoulder. Before you receive the ball, a couple of times. Before the ball comes in, he's like that. Always like that, and he knows if he's got to bounce it, as Don said, or just turn it round the corner.
Because that's where that's where midfielders are chess players, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly.
They need to know what's going to happen before the ball's got to them.
Correct,
they need to know what they're going to do with it.
Awareness.
Do you remember the Gundogan goal a couple of weeks ago? Where he had a lovely little 1-2. So he steps ahead of everyone on the pitch, plays a nice little 1-2, bends in the bottom corner.
He's got a nice little bit of swagger about him, and you need that. It's not a criticism. There's a little bit of an arrogance about him, which you need. You know, you're playing in one of the toughest leagues in the world. You need to be able to portray that I can deal with it.
And walking into that dressing room every day. That's where your arrogance and that's where your confidence, you need to be able to walk into that dressing room without being arrogant, because the players will find you out if you are, because you're not a nice person to be around. Yeah. You're friendly, you're warm, you go in there, people will look up to you. Now there'll be kids at Leicester, age 17, 18, will think, I want to be the next Maddison. I want to be in the side.
And if you don't have that confidence with a tinge of arrogance as you go out on the pitch, the players you're playing against will go, he's weak.
He's weak.
He's weak.
He talks the talk, but he can't.
So they'll judge you, won't they? They'll definitely get that to you.
So we've seen him score. We've seen him take set pieces. We're going to see him create chances as well, particularly if you're, particularly if you are a Vardy in this team now. With Mahrez having gone, he is the creative hub, isn't he?
Well, if you think as well, Mahrez was off the right-hand side, but under 12 played as a 10. And then Damari Gray, who I absolutely love, he can't get in that 10 role. He's came off the bench a few times this season. But it seems as though he struck up a very early partnership with Vardy, where you talk about a football brain. Look at that, just took that on the back foot, let it roll across him. Takes it on his left side, but he's picking the correct passes, the correct weight. It's not easy.
And every opportunity that he gets, he'll pick the pass. Or he'll take a shot.
Do you remember the season they won the league? There was quite a lot of Danny Drinkwater would hit that ball over the top of Vardy. It's not quite the same part, but it's the same relationship.
You've got to see it, Mark. The most important thing is you've got to see the pass. If you don't see the pass, you can't then execute it. So vision is a massive thing in any young footballer's armoury. If you've got vision to see the pass, or see when you're marked, or see where the space is, that's absolutely essential.
I think he's a massive asset for Leicester, and Leicester getting him at this stage as well, because they lost Drinkwater, they lost Kanté. He's now coming and he's sort of taken charge of that area.
And he's in Seville tonight with the England squad. So when he comes back in the league, they're playing this time next week at Arsenal. You two are international footballers. The first time you come back, he may not make his debut, but he's been in with the England squad. The first time you come back with your national team and you walk into the dressing room, do you walk a little bit taller?
I had my kilt on. Did you? I had my kilt. I didn't
have some bagpipes.
No, you do. You
do. You go.
I can remember one of my
chested out slightly.
I can remember one of my first games, and it was at Celtic Park, and I come on for Gary McAllister. That was my first cap, and I remember driving back down. I was at Everton at the time, and I remember driving back down, and I drove. I don't know what it was, 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. Took a 4 or 5 hour drive through the night on my own, and the adrenaline I had in that car driving down, knowing that...
You're going to be international football?
International football. I just came on from Gary McAllister. I can actually say that I've played once for Scotland. And it just gives you an enormous sense of achievement, but knowing at the same time, this is not the end. This is the start.
But it's the edge. It's the little bit of... It's like you say when you get back to your team. It's the edge. They know that you're an international.
Yes.
You know you're an international. People you're playing against, Don's an international now. So, he'll have a bit of a swagger, more of a swagger, definitely.
Yeah, and just a final one. The man, I suppose the only thing is we spend so much time wondering about Claude Puel, don't we?
Yes.
But you as a player, You just have to park that.
Yeah, you can't.
To be honest, not quite irrelevant who the manager is, but all the speculation about the manager, you just got to get on.
Not at your age, not at 21.
Yeah.
When you're making your way into the first team, you've got to be ridiculously selfish and not worry about who the manager is, not worry if Claude Puel's going to be here for 6 months or 6 years. You just keep doing your stuff, because whoever comes through the door, if you're performing with all those numbers and all those positive stats, whoever comes through the door, you're going to be one of the first names on the team sheet.
Brilliant.